2 through 26. Number 2 is 2, 7. 4 is negative 4, negative 5. 6 is negative 2, negative 1. 8 is 6, negative 2. 10 is some stupid picture, which I'll pull up in a second. So is 12. What?
But you're supposed to also say what the constant is.
Well, that's probably next to the picture, so when I get there, I'll tell you. I could probably look at it for a second and figure out that part, but we'll show you the picture in a second. Number 14, excuse me, is 3, negative 4. 16 is negative 4, 6. 18 is negative 3, 2. 20 is 8, 1. 22 is negative 1, 1. 24 is 1, negative 6. And 26 is infinite solutions. Well, that's wrong, because yeah, but did it end up equaling the same thing?
No, but since all of them canceled out, there was nothing to equal.
So you probably ended up, if everything canceled out, then what you actually got was 0 equals 0, which is a true statement. Therefore, infinite solutions. But we can look at it if you want to in a minute. Once I turn the TV on and swivel the camera around so you can see 10 and 12. Wee. Wahoo.
Are we going to watch the challenge?
Maybe. I don't know. Oh, so sad. Oh, no.
Yeah, I've been dying to see that.
I was wondering who is it.
I was wondering that one dude. I forgot his name.
What's happening to those people that I don't remember the names?
Robert?
And I don't even know entirely.
No, there's like a Tony and a something else with a P.
Remember that guy?
There we go. Number 10 is inconsistent, inconceivable, because they're parallel. Number 12 is these guy, and they're consistent and independent because they crisscross applesauce once. Isn't that exciting? What questions do we have, children's? 4 and 44 is what I'm seeing and hearing. 24. 4 and 20. There is a 44, just not assigned.
Well, yeah. 24.
Okay, number 4. Here we go.
Number 4. I didn't circle my answer for number 4. So I have to think about it.
I refuse to follow the instructions on 4. I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it at all. I'm not gonna solve it by graphing. I ain't doing that.
Hold on,
Four?
but if on a
24 is not graphing.
Oh, I'm doing 4.
Oh, I was like, what?
But if we get it on a test, and we don't know how to
You
do
will
it,
not be assigned to solve a system by graphing
your
unless
class-
it's a system of inequalities, but that's the next lesson.
It's just an unreliable way to solve it.
It is.
So like for 2 where it says solve the system of equations by using a table, what was supposed to be there?
I just did a
You are supposed to make a table of values. Well, I would solve it with substitution or elimination. Is what I would do. But yeah, the table would be like making a table and figuring out where they match.
I just looked at
That's even more obnoxious than the graphing way.
Do it 'cause I was like,
I don't know what this means. So do you actually need 4 or you just the graphing part? Okay, okay. 5x plus 5, is that right?
Fuzzy just fell on mine.
Okay, so what would be the easiest way to solve this system?
To move, that make the 3y distributed.
Distribute the 3y.
To substitute the y in for y.
Yeah, substitute y for y.
Easily substitution.
Yes.
You could totally move the x over and then do elimination. That's totally a fine thing, but
Where'd you get
let's not and say we didn't.
distribute the y?
The 3y.
No, we're not distributing the y. There's
Let my
nothing
brain
in y.
understand this, okay?
All you do is add
Distribute the
negative
3
x to the other side, but then you just don't have.
Yeah, then we distribute the 3.
We can.
I don't get what.
So negative 3x minus 27 equals 5x plus 5. Then what?
Add
Let's
3x.
subtract 5. Either works. Sure.
Let's
Add 3x
add
and subtract 5. And throw the marker on the floor.
But I wanna do it differently.
She wants to be different.
Because I wanna keep the x on the other side because
And 22.
Like,
Oh, wait.
where do we go?
what are you doing?
Probably home,
4.
Yeah.
but not yet.
Oh.
Now what do we do?
What?
We shove
Oh.
that into the,
Wait.
shove that into the top
We
problem.
substitute the value in there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You just did the
Now what do we do?
We shove the x in.
Yes, I did both
The value of
movings in one thing is what I did. Yes.
Substitute the value of x.
Into somewhere.
Let's do the
Into
top problem.
y
It's
equals
y
easier.
x minus 9. Because it's all separate. Negative 4
Ka-chink, ka-chink.
minus 9.
Ka-chink, ka-chink.
Oh, that's like my favorite thing.
Yeah, sharp.
Ka-chink, ka-chink. Which is funny because you used to hate it when you first learned it.
Wait, you didn't ka-chink. No, you didn't.
Bam.
Yay.
24.
24.
24.
Why? But
Z.
okay, great.
I'm just doing a good problem.
I think y'all probably just made a little mistake, but that's fine. That's fine. Multiple of you apparently made a mistake, so let's do it. 24. This problem is like pretty easy to solve with elimination.
I feel like I did.
I think most people disagree with you. Okay.
I like substitution.
I like that, actually.
24. Most people like elimination. Most students, I should say, is probably a better choice of words. Most students like elimination better. I couldn't tell you why.
Substitution.
That tends to be true.
I think just makes more sense even though elimination has less.
Negative 2. Because the other one's positive 12, right?
I may have just done one of the steps wrong.
Because we want them to be opposites, not the same. Yeah, that's what I said. On the test, actually, no, just kidding. I was going to lie to you, I think.
Don't lie to us.
Yeah, I think I was going to lie to you.
Negative 18.
Well, maybe. I don't know. It's possible that on the test it doesn't tell you what method to use, but then later it'll tell you you have to solve this one with Kramer's rule and you have to solve that one with inverses. So I can't remember whether it does that throughout the whole test or not. So I don't know. Learn all the methods. They're useful in different circumstances. We did a system in geometry today. Y'all remember those problems where you had to find the distance between a point and a line? The ugliest algebra problems in geometry. They thought they were sad about it. What did you just ask, Gurley? Yes, I think that's a great idea. Negative 12x plus 8y equals negative 60. And then we eliminate. That goes away. This one turns into 3y. This one turns into negative 78.
Isn't it 13y? 5 plus 8.
Yeah, I subtracted for some reason. And then we divide by 13. And y equals negative something.
6.
Probably, yeah.
6.
Did you sanity check? Weren't you one of the ones that missed this?
Okay, hold on. I bring it to the negative.
It's definitely
That's
negative.
where I missed it. Okay. I didn't do the negatives. I didn't.
Well, okay, so I say this all the time in the video. It bears saying it bears saying in class, don't do the negatives on your calculator because it makes you slow down enough to think through what's happening. Do the negatives in your head. Use the rules. Just punch on the calculator, push 78 divided by 13, but know that's going to be a negative 6. That is a good way to help keep the signs accurate. So don't do the signs on your calculator most of the time. There are a few exceptions, but most of the time don't do it that way.
I didn't do the signs on the calculator. I just forgot to add the signs.
Well, that's fair enough. And then the y goes up in there somewhere, so 6x minus 4 times negative 6 equals 30. Negative 4 times negative 6 is positive 24. Then we subtract off, we end up with 6x equals 6, and then we end up with x equals 1. 1 negative 6. Sound reasonable and true?
Can we do 8?
You didn't give anybody, you have to learn wait time. It's important.
No.
It's important. When the teacher asks a question, it's very important. It behooves him to wait for a response.
Wow, look, I got the answer. Cool. 8?
Yeah, we can do 8.
I don't even know what I did on problem.
She really wants
Are
to
you
do it.
Shakespeare now?
What?
I don't even know
Shakespeare.
what I did. Obviously, I
You
messed
use
up.
fancy old words.
What old words did I use?
How old is that rat?
What? I use what? Oh, behoove. It behooves you. I didn't say S.
How old is that rag?
The rag is quite old. You mean how long has it been since I washed that particular rag?
That too.
No, not that too. That's not that's the one that you wanted to know.
Well, I wanted to know how old it was, and
I don't think that's true. I don't believe you.
I wanted to know how old it was.
No, you're just now being obnoxious because I was first being obnoxious.
Graph number 8. No.
I like being obnoxious. Go ahead.
Number 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, solving two system equations. Like graphing.
Oh, well, graphing them is I only graphed 2 of them. It didn't work out.
Is that a 5 or a C or
It's a 5.
Okay.
Looks more like something that would be written. Actually, that's C. Nope. Turn it around and it's C and 4.
For some reason my brain doesn't like writing 4s and always writes a Y.
I had to write down an entire graph of C and 4, and it took forever. And now
What is
I
that,
have
a 4?
What is that?
What number is
X.
That's very clearly
Equals-
just.
I was just waiting for her that asked the question to quit talking, and so I was just doing stuff.
What's this number?
Okay, so how do we want to solve this? I obviously recommend substitution because that's what I was doing, but
Substitution.
we knew whatever y'all want to do.
I don't know what I did.
If a problem has a variable that's like by its lonesome, substitution is often a great, easier way to do it.
Y extras.
Doesn't matter. But this equation, it's easier to solve for x. Because this y has got a negative on it, so I'd have to get rid of that and this.
So just minus 4Y.
So that's how I got what I wrote here. X equals negative 2 minus 4y, right?
And then we shove that in there for X.
We do. We take this and put it in the other one.
You have to put it in the other one?
Yes.
That's annoying.
Stuff will just cancel and poof away if you put it in the same one. 8 times negative 2 minus 4y minus y equals 50.
See, I got
Distribute.
6 over 33.
Negative 16 minus 32y minus y equals 50.
My brain's like negative.
Combine like terms. So, and we can go ahead and add 16 as well. Why not? What would what be? It would not be. Why not? Why is that incorrect?
Why is that incorrect?
Yep, that's what I'm asking. Why would it not be 31?
What?
Negative 32 minus 1.
Would be negative 33.
Yes, it would.
And that's 66.
Wait, is that, that's a
Okay, so I started this
It's
one.
2. The answer's 2.
Why is,
Good for you.
Well,
Mm.
I
negative
tried to
2.
do elimination for this one. I just didn't work out.
I never tried to do elimination.
You could certainly do elimination. I would, if I was going to do elimination, I would probably multiply the top one by 4.
That's what I did.
And then, I'll walk through that real quick and we can find your mistake.
I don't know if I was
Because everybody knows what to do now, right? Just plug that in and move on with life. So let's do this by elimination. So 4 would be 32. X minus 4y equals 200.
Would you want to put the
Did you already make a mistake?
I don't know what I did. I don't know where I got the numbers I was using.
Oh, well, this is what I would do, right? Multiply all that times 4, which give it this.
Because I have my 8x minus y and 15 thing, and I have the x plus 4. But over here, I had negative 4y minus 2 in the y and distributed an 8 after it.
I don't know. So you were like kind of using substitution, elimination, kind of smooshed into one, something? I don't know.
I don't know what I did.
Okay.
I don't even know
What other questions from this lesson, kids?
Can we do 10 or 12? Or actually, can we do 12?
Yeah.
Got the right answer, but I really did not notice, dude.
Okay.
So on these ones,
I just
where it says
understood that it was
graphic system,
that.
describe it.
But I didn't understand
You're
why.
trying to get into slope-intercept form, right?
Mhm.
And you're graphing those lines.
So number 12, we've got 9x minus 2y equals 11. And
5x plus 4y
Equals 13.
okay, then we got to get them in slope-intercept form to graph them. So up here we'd subtract 9x. And down here we'd subtract 5x. And we'd end up with negative 2y equals negative 9x plus 11. And 4y equals negative. Yeah, that's where we're headed. We can't just graph it from that. Well, we could. We're doing a table, but
We gotta do y.
Who you divide by?
slope form.
We divide by negative 2 on the first.
yeah.
Yay, I got it right.
Finally.
So this one we'd have y equals 9/2 x minus 5.5. And over here we'd have y equals negative 5/4 x plus 2, no,
13. No, 4. No, 4.
4 times 3 is 12. Yeah, 3 1/4.
4 and 3 thirds.
And then you'd graph those stupid looking things,
And then they're very pretty.
and they cross like that. Consistent.
And where they,
Well, I got the answer.
It doesn't even ask about that. It just asks for, like, is it consistent, independent? Independent, is it consistent and independent, consistent and dependent, or inconsistent?
I
So
just
it's
looked at it and I was like,
consistent
"Yeah, it's just independent."
and independent because it crosses like that.
And if they're parallel and not touching, they're
Yeah.
inconsistent.
Yeah. And actually, you could, with this, if a problem like this were to show up on the test, it wouldn't say the first half. All it would say is describe it as consistent and independent, consistent and dependent or inconsistent, because we don't have to graph it
Yeah, on
at this
map,
point
it looks
to
like
know
it's
that,
like
to know that that's true.
Will the x's always be the same?
So which type of shape is inconsistent? Parallel, yeah? So the slope will always be the same, but the slope will be the same, but the y-intercept will be different. But consistent and dependent, everything's the same.
Same slope, same y.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other one's just like everywhere else.
Yeah, everything's different. Well, the y-intercepts could be the same.
But
That would be, then you would have the solution, then you would have the well, part of the solution to the system, actually, if the y-intercepts were the same.
yeah, I did not graph that one. I kind of
So if
disobeyed.
the
the-
So you didn't follow the instructions, good job.
Nope.
If both the things are exactly the same, everything would cancel out, so you'd get no solution, but you said that wasn't the right answer before.
Let's look at 23 and 26. Let's do both of those so we can compare them. Because one is one and the other is the other.
That's how problems work, isn't it?
And then you should assign 23 for one of our quizzes.
Is that what I should do?
Yeah.
No.
26, 26.
If I was going to assign something fun for a quiz, I should totally do 9.
I don't know what 9 is, but it sounds scary.
It's a word problem.
Oh, I like word problems.
No!
Word problems are fun.
It said refer to the
Yes, ma'am.
to the right.
And we had a problem where b word problems in the equation was like b 3 over 2. Would you go up 3 over 2, or would you go like a little bit up?
So for the b, you're talking about the y-intercept?
Yes.
So for the y-intercept, I would write it as a mixed number
Okay.
because it's just a place, right? So you're not really counting, because you would actually go up 1.5.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was.
Yeah. So it's easier to think about that part as a mixed number, but the slope is an improper fraction. So
This is not a quiz?
this is not a quiz. We're doing this problem right now.
23 or 26?
23.
But we did this one.
And then we're going to do both of them. And I'm going to leave this one up on the board. We're going to do both of them together because we're going to compare the two things. 5a plus 15b equals negative 24 and negative 2a excuse me, minus 6b equals 28. And then we're also going to do 26.
Wait, was that 23?
That was 23.
No, Liz, that was obviously that's not written right.
Which is negative 35x plus 40y equals 55.
Your rad looks like the one my mom uses for her whiteboard.
Crazy.
7x minus 8y equals negative 11.
Actually, my mom has
I'm going to go kind of fast. Are you ready?
No.
Okay, because I'm going to get to the punchline and stop and get to the punchline and stop. And we're going to talk through the punchline, okay? Okay, so we're going to use elimination because it makes sense in this problem and we won't have to deal with fractions. We're going to multiply this one times 5, this one times 2. Yes, that's a 2. So we get 10a plus 30b equals negative 48. And then we'd get negative 10a minus 30b equals 140. And then we get 0 equals 92, right?
That seems very good.
Okay.
zero is the same.
0 equals 9.
Okay, now we're going to come over here and we're just going to multiply the second one times 5. So we end up with 35x minus 40 y equals negative 55. And then we'll rewrite the top one here so it's lined up and pretty. x plus 40y equals 55. So then, so we get 0 equals 0. Okay, I'm gonna do one more thing. Are you ready? Okay, so first of all, we're going to pretend like this says x and this says y, just for your brains. Okay, we're taking solve this one for y. So move the x over. So we've got 15y equals negative 5x minus 24. Don't forget that if you need to, and it's helpful to you, and you can go back and you can pause this whole lightning fast thing on the recording. But, you know, there you go. You can't pause me IRL. So y equals negative 1/3 x minus 24/15. That's this top one. This bottom one, we're going to move the x over, and we end up with negative 6y equals 2x plus 28. Then divide by 6, we end up with y equals negative 1/2 x. I made a mistake.
Where?
I don't know. Oh, that's a 3. Thank you. Okay. X minus 14/3. Okay, that's the second one. So this guy and this guy, let's do the same thing over here. This one, we'll move the x over, so we've got 40y equals negative 35x plus 55. And then we divide by 40. So we'd end up with y equals negative 6/7 x plus 11/8. And then this one, we move the x over, end up with negative 8y equals negative 7x minus 11. Then divide by 8. I made a mistake again. Positive for one thing. There's still a mistake. Got to be a mistake. Something I did wrong. 5 times 35 divided by 5 is 7, and 40 divided by 5 is 8. Who'd have thunk it? Okay. Then divide by negative 8, we end up with y equals 7/8 x plus 11/8. Okay, now, we've got enough on the board to talk about things. Okay, so we didn't have to do any of this bottom chunk. I just wanted to, but that up there is going to show you a thing. So the answers are different types of answers, right? Is that a true or false statement?
Very false.
That is false. Apparently very false. That is a very relative statement. Okay, so that is false, which means that this has no solution.
I like that one.
And so
Okay.
those 2 lines
This-
are the same slope, but a different
Yeah. So why the reason I did this is because we know here from putting it this way that these are 2 parallel lines. So they have no solution because it's never going to cross, right? This guy, is this a true or false statement? It's very true. So this has infinite solutions.
0 is infinite.
No, because this line and that line are the same line.
But one of them's negative, so wouldn't one
No,
of them
one of them is not negative. They're the same line.
Oh, I was looking at the one right above it.
Yeah, when you divide this by negative, 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 it turns out positive. Yeah. So this is infinite solutions because we end up with a true statement. You've been awfully quiet today. It's unusual this year. You doing good? Hanging in there? Did you do this lesson? Okay. All right. Does that make sense? Any other questions from this lesson?
What time is it?
Time to take a quiz.
That's unreal.
Who'da thunk it?
I'm gonna turn my volume down.
It's almost as if this is a review lesson. Quiz. 3-1. Page 141.
Let's do like 11.
Numbers.
Sat and S?
My goodness.
13 and 27. Ready, go.